Om Janatimirandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Amritam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Pujya Shri Guru Varga Pandita Mahabhavanditaya Shada Durga Parya Parampara Chalita Praja Pramota Kudehe Bhaktir Nirmala Nirjarasanipritam Shamrakam Shadaram Nande Shri Gurudeva Manat Shiro Chachavaram Jam Kurva Vishta Shuprakam Kurvanera Shisha Shambushitam Chantya Chantya Samaste Bhajapunam Shri Rupa Pradhanukam Govinda Gitam Ujshvalam Bharadam Bhaktamitam Shandaram Vande Vishwagurincha Divya Bhagavat Prema Bijapratam Evam Divya Tanam Chanda Vadanam Balarka Chilanchitam Chandrananda Puram Shadeka Varanam Vairagya Vidyamudi Shishidam Kalidim Shabhakti Lashitam Sarasvatanam Varam Vandedam Shpadamadekva Sharanam Yashishwaram Shridaram Sri Siddhanta Saraswati Vidito Gauriya Gurvanvaye Katavano Ripa Pravatta Gagane Yogur Shankirtane Maya Bharati Mingilo Daragatan Richa Jivaniman Krishna Prema Shudabdikanuskam Tadatvantam Bhati Panchakapasruvyascha Kripasinduvayevacha Patitanam Pavanapo Vishnavipnamo Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Namipurtise Namaha Vrindayate Lakshidevaya Priyaya Kesavasacha Krishna Bhakti Pradidevi Satchivachimo Namaha Atmanatpamatra Gurun Gurun Bhagavat Hartadan Vyasan Jagat Gurunatva Tattva Jayamudira Chahai Saparikara Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandarva Govinda Sundara Pada Papanam Jayastu Chai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I humble Dandavatana to all the devotees and thank you all for joining us today. So last week Saturday we spoke about Gundicha Marjana, which is taking place tomorrow, and on Monday it's the glorious Rath Yatra festival. So today we will focus on the amazing Sri Puri Dham Parikrama with Srila Acharyadev, which takes place over 4 days before the chariot festival. So Kanupriya Didi and other fortunate devotees, they attended the Puri Dham Parikrama in 2019. And she will be sharing some photos and her experience of the different places that was visited during the Parikrama. I will then very briefly share some pastimes about the Rath Yatra festival. This very glorious festival. It's actually a very deep pastime about union in separation. But we'll briefly discuss some of the activities that takes place during this festival. And I will be reciting from the verses from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, chapter 13. And then we'll hand over to Parama Bhakti Didi, and she will be sharing a very nice, beautiful recipe with us. And then we can conclude with some kirtan. If you have any questions, please feel free to type it in the chat. And now we'll hand over to Kanupriya Didi.
Dandavat pranams. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnana Shalakaya Chakshomilitanmina Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Manchkalpa Turuvascha Kripasindabhaivacha Titanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. So, my humble Dandavat pranams. I'm now going to just share my screen. So I hope, just let me know if everyone can see this okay. And can hear me clearly?
Yes, Didi.
Okay. So, Shri Puri Dham Parikrama, His Divine Grace on Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nimrachai Maharaj takes a few hundred supremely fortunate devotees to Shri Puri Dham for the annual pilgrimage and observance of Rath Yatra. So, the temple, so this is the on the left here, this is the temple entrance, and you basically, to walk through to the devotees quarters, you go through the back of the temple, through this little on the right hand side where you can see the bull. You come through those gates, and then we have the devotees quarters. And this is our, these are there's the altar in Puri Dham, in our temple. So day one, you can see here Acharya Maharaj getting everybody ready. So when we're all waiting in the morning, waiting for Maharaj to lead us on the Parikrama, And so everyone's ready. We're not too sure when he's going to be setting off, and then suddenly you hear him on the loudspeaker, and then everyone starts to join the Parikram. So the first, and here's just a little bit of a flavor of the spirit and mood of all the devotees, all very happy and eager and ready, and so lovely to see everybody from all different parts of the world also. So our first place that we visit is Sri Samudra Mahatirtha, which is the beach where Mahaprabhu bathed. And I think there's some lovely pastimes. We won't go into them all, but I'll just quickly take you through the pictures because we have a lot to cover today. And then there's the devotees going onto the beach, and Acharya Maharaj giving a wonderful kirtan, and then coming off the beach, all the devotees on the Parikram path to Samadhi Mandir or Srila Haridas Thakur, where the devotees are led by Acharya Maharaj to do Parikram of the temple, and he sits and gives a lecture, and obviously more kirtan. And this is the Samadhi Mandir and the entrance, and Maharaj giving a lecture. Then just across from that temple, we go across the road. There's like a crossroads, and we come to Srila Jagannatha Pandit's Bhajan Kutir. So we go in there and we have darshan of the deities. And then in the courtyard there, he also gives another lecture and more kirtan. Across the road from this temple is the Sri Shyamasundar Math. It's a very, very small temple. So we just quickly take quick darshan in this temple. And then we move on to Sri Chatak Pavat, which is supposed to be non-different from Sri Govardhan. And here Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur established a Sri Gaudiya Math and spent many times here on a yearly basis. He would come here. So we can see this is the temple. So the Bhajan Kutir is just behind this temple. So we walk around the temple, we do Parikrama of the small Bhajan Kutir, and we come back down into this beautiful temple where Acharya Maharaj gives another talk, and more kirtan here. And there's a picture of the beautiful deities there residing in this temple. And after that, we visit Sri Tota Gopinath Temple of Srila Gadadhar Pandit. I actually took some of these pictures from the Mutt website, because the year we went, they'd had a terrible storm just before. So the landscape was quite beaten actually, and many of the trees were down. And so these I thought I'd take these pictures instead. The one at the top right is from that 2019. So we're not unable to take pictures of the deity here. So I just took a few pictures in the courtyard. It allows me to go further. And it's not allowing me to go further. There we go. It's probably going to jump to. So this is the courtyard. And then on the way back in the evening, we see it's getting dark. So it's been a whole day of Harikatha and Kirtan. And still he's going with Kirtan. And then in the evening, His Divine Grace gives the evening class. And I think finishes maybe 9 o'clock or something, or even later. And then we take prasadam. So it's a really full day. You can see how Acharya Maharaj really is full on every day. This is just day one. It's not letting me to go to the next one. Day 2. So again, starting in the morning. So you can see this pathway at the top that's coming from, you can just see the devotee quarters at the back there, and we're walking through to the temple, and we take darshan of the deities, and then we go on down the small streets of Puri. Actually, oh, now what's happened? Day 2, here we go. And we go to this Siddha Bakul, the Bhajan Kutir of Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur. Actually, we lost Acharya Maharaj. It's a funny story. We lost him. He was so fast and down all the little roads and back streets. And we had to ask, some locals, like, which way? Where did they go? And they were all pointing us in the right direction.
I remember that so well. That was so funny.
Do you remember? Did you get lost as well? We're all He's so quick. So he's giving a lovely class, and we have all the desire trees outside. Then opposite this temple, there's the tree under which Srila Haridas Thakur chanted the holy name. And I'll just read this. I've got this again from the Mat's website. It says, His Divine Grace told that this tree was originally produced by Sriman Mahaprabhu himself. The Lord manifested it from a twig-like toothbrush of Lord Jagannath to provide shade for his dear devotee Haridas Thakur. But when the servitors of Jagannath temple wanted to chop it, Srila Haridas Thakur prayed to Mahaprabhu to save the tree. As a result, when the servitors of Jagannath temple came to chop the tree, they found it a hollow tree with only bark left. So they left without fulfilling their purpose. The bark carcass of the tree remains here to this day. And here, I don't know if you remember, some of you are here that are joining this class today. We're actually here also. This place for me was just absolutely amazing. This is the house of Sri Keshi Mishra, where Mahaprabhu resided while he was in Puri, Sri Gambhira. And it was just ecstatic. You can see from the pictures of Acharya Maharaj that he's just in ecstasy. And it was really, we felt that. It was just incredible. And so you go into the courtyard, and then you go through into a really small altar of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And you can see in the top right corner, there's a picture of actually some, I can't remember who they are actually, but some lady acharyas. And it was a very tiny room. Again, another amazing kirtan in this room. Just ecstatic, really magical. And then in the courtyard, he gave another class. After that, we moved to the Radha Kantamat, the house of Srila Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. It's a really beautiful, beautiful wall mural still there. And you can see here beautiful deities. And then the Parikram continued on to the Svetaganga Kund near the house of Srila Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Yeah, and he's so quick, some of you remember. He's just off and up the stairs. It's so hard to keep up with him. And then we came back through to the temple of Jagannath, where actually here it was really lovely. You can see them making the rough carts, and also it was really sweet. We were able, the Western devotees, as you know, we're not allowed into the temple, so we were able to, we had an opportunity here to do Vaishnav Seva, holding on to all the bags and the things for the Indian body devotees to go in. And it was really sweet. They brought us little sweets and things. So that was really lovely, lovely time. And then on the way back, we were heading back to our temple. And here, Acharya Maharaj took us to this holy well of Sri Pramanananda Puri. And it says here, when Sri Pramanananda Puri made his house and a well next to it, the water in the well was bitter. So one day Mahaprabhu prayed to Lord Jagannath to make the water sweet. As a result, Lord Jagannath brought Ganga into the well, and Mahaprabhu declared that anyone who drinks this water attains the result of bathing or taking darshan of Ganga. And then you can see here he brings up the bucket of water, and he sprays us, everybody, with Mother Ganga. And then there's just a picture of all the devotees coming back from a long day. And now we're on to day 3. Again, getting ready. Everyone's ready, and we have to walk now. We're going to Bhubaneswar, so we have to take a bus journey. So to get to the bus, we do kirtan all the way along the beach and up to the bus stop. And I felt very fortunate, actually, because I was able to ride in Acharya Maharaj's bus, because the buses were all completely full. And so I felt very fortunate. And we are taken to Sri Alanath Temple. So you can see here, this is that sort of entrance we go. We have to stop and we have a short walk down. It was a bit rainy this day. A short walk down to the temple. Many of these temples, the Westerners aren't allowed to enter, but we were allowed to go into this here, which I'll read here again, taken from Sri Chaitanya Saraswati international website. It says, there are 15 days when Jagannath temple is closed. The Jagannath people say that Jagannath has a fever during this time, but we think that during these days, they are making the temple of Jagannath and all the preparations. So they close the temple the day after Shnan Yatra and open it only for one day before Rath Yatra. Mahaprabhu cried so much. He goes to the Jagannath temple every day, but at that time the temple is closed and he cannot go to see Jagannath. He was very upset. One day, Jagannath himself told to Mahaprabhu, come to Alanath and you can see me there. So Mahaprabhu went to Alanath. When he came there, he was crying for Jagannath so much that when he paid Dandavat to the Alanath temple, so much ecstasy came to him that even the whole stone melted under his body. And we can see this stone here now. This is what we're seeing here. You can see the stone. And then Acharya Maharaj gave wonderful talk here and more kirtan. And in the same complex, we have Sri Brahma Gaudiya Math in Alanath, established by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. So we went and took darshan of the deities, and we then took prasadam here. And again, Acharya Maharaj arranging all the prasadam, just incredible. All the truckload of buckets of prasadam was brought and distributed here. After this, we went to the temple of Sakshi Gopal. And we actually, Acharya Maharaj's bus got there a little before all the other buses. So he was sitting and waiting for the buses. And as he was sitting, all the cows, he suddenly got approached by all these cows. They all came and he was then fed them biscuits while we waited for the devotees. And they do see the devotees here going into the temple. We weren't allowed, again, Westerns aren't allowed in this temple, so we did a few of us did a little parikrama around the temple, and there's a beautiful kund, and this is the picture of the back of the temple. After this, we visited the ancient temple of Sri Ananta Vasudev. Really beautiful and very famous for their cooking. So that you can see here how they cook in the clay pots, and we were able to have prasadam here. Just outside this temple, there's the Sri Bindu Sarovar manifested by Lord Shiva, just opposite. Then we went to the temple of Sri Lingaraj, the temple of Lord Shiva. Again, another opportunity to do devotee seva, holding bags for everybody. But we were also fortunate because just on the outskirts, there were these beautiful little deserted temples. So we were able to have a look around there. And then we headed home. And again, that day would be followed by, evening Harikatha with Acharya Maharaj. And then on to day 4. So day 4, we again going down to the parade, following the parade down past the Jagannath temple. We can see now the carts are really looking nearly ready. And we enter the place of Bhagavan Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, his birthplace. And Acharya Maharaj did a wonderful kirtan parikrama around the altar and around his Samadhi Mandir. And went into the opposite the altar. There's this courtyard, and there was also, I mean, you can imagine it's a very busy day, many Gaudiya Maths there, so we were invited, Acharya Maharaj was invited to join the group, and then they all were together for some time, and then the other party left, and Acharya Maharaj gave us another lovely lecture here. Then not too far, a little bit further down on the left, the house of Srila Ramananda Rai. We visited there. And then next door, literally next to that, is the garden of Srila Ramananda Rai's house. And we had prasadam here. And also Acharya Maharaj gave a little talk, a bit of information. And from there, we were now the entrance of the Jagannath temple. This is at the bottom where they will arrive. And you can see all the devotees, all the people painting the gates and making it really beautiful. And there's a small Jagannath murti at the top here, which was just to the left. It's just on the corner of the building, actually. And I heard someone was saying that it's quite a special deity. Now behind this is a small temple, and Westerners were actually allowed to go in here and have darshan. So we went in, and it was actually really sweet because Acharya Maharaj, I remember him looking at me and saying, did you go in this one? Like making sure, like the one temple I could go in, making sure I'd been in. He was so sweet. After you think of how many people are there, and he did wonderful kirtan outside of this temple. It's very lovely. And then we finished in Yumna Sarovar, which is not far from the Gundicha temple. And you can see Acharya Maharaj looking so radiant, so happy. A whole day again of talks and kirtan. He still just looks so vibrant. So that's the end of the day 4, and I just wanted to capture this one picture on the Rath Yatra day. I didn't take pictures, but it was really an amazing day. I just wanted to share a little bit of my experience and how when we were going, the streets before you get onto the main parade are so small, and it was getting, the closer you got, it was getting more and more tighter and crowded. And I thought, how are we going to do this? And then we came across some policemen, and they were telling you, no, you can't go this way, you have to go another way. But somehow, by some grace of our gurus, we were allowed to go through, and we got through onto the main parade, and we waited and did kirtan until the Rath carts were arriving and we could see them, and then we did the kirtan all the way down the parade, and we finished when we got to the end. Everyone sat down, and Acharya Maharaj told everyone to sit down, and again he was giving more talks and more kirtan. And then suddenly, I mean, it was quite dark, it was getting dark at this point, and then suddenly everyone was like, suddenly like, oh, what's happening? And the rough cart, the rope of the rough cart just came over the top of us, and literally we're all, oh my gosh, but all of us had the opportunity to touch the rope of the rough cart. So that was, well, a bit of a nerve-wracking moment. It was actually really beautiful. And then we from there we left and we walked home. And I just wanted to say also that, you know, we do this barefoot, and it was quite incredible that my feet were actually just totally fine. Like there were, you know, there's broken bits of coconut, there's, you know, not one scratch, not one blister. From the whole day, I was like really amazed that, you know, we're really protected by our dear Gurudev. In fact, I was really nervous before to go, because you had lots of people saying, oh, you know, be careful, you know, maybe just watch on the stand. And I was really worried and unsure about whether to go or not go, or just watch from the side. But I thought, well, I'm with Gurudev. I'm with Acharya Maharaj and, you know, Srila Gurudev and Guru Maharaj. Why am I scared? Let's just go. So I went, and I really, really feel so fortunate and blessed to have been under their guidance and protection. And then the following day, on the 6th day, you're able to have darshan of Lord Jagannath, Baladev and Subhadra. So we went in the morning, in fact, Acharya Maharaj was giving Diksha on the Rath Yatra day, and also this day also. You can see here's Leela Sundi Devi Dasi having Diksha there, and we went and we had darshan, and it was just very, very beautiful. So all glories to Shri Shri Guru and His grace, and Gauranga, and all glories to Shri Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Acharya Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai.
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 Thank you very much, Kanapriya Didi. Thank you for sharing those beautiful photos and glorious pastimes in Jagannath Puri with Srila Acharyadev. It's very, very inspiring. So hopefully in the future sometime we all can go there and try and do some seva there. That will be good for all of us.
I hope it's brought back some good memories for the devotees here that were there also.
It was beautiful. Thank you.
So many wonderful pastimes. So.
It certainly brought back some great memories. Thank you. It was amazing to see all those beautiful pictures again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing, Didi. So, yes, so many wonderful pastimes, and maybe in future sessions we can do one place, one pastime, go into more detail, read about it. There's one thing I wanted to mention about the Tota Gopinath temple. The deity there, I managed to somehow, I don't know, you're not supposed to go in there and take out photos, but somehow one of the devotees managed to go in and, quickly take out a photo, and someone posted it on one of the websites. So it is said that that deity there is very unique. Yes. It's the only deity of its kind in the world where Krishna is actually sitting down and he's playing his flute. So a very beautiful deity of the Lord there, very unique, only deity of its kind of the Lord. Yeah, amazing. Okay, so I will be sharing some verses from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter 13. So as I mentioned earlier, it's a very, very deep pastime this year. It's all about union in separation. But I'm going to speak very, very briefly about this, different activities that takes place during this Rath Yatra festival. So on the morning of the Rath Yatra festival, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his personal associates, they go to see the ceremony of the Pandu Vijaya. So what is this Pandu Vijaya? It's a ceremony where Jagannath leaves his throne in the temple and he takes his seat on the chariot. And the devotees of the Lord who carry him to the chariot, they are called Daitas. They're very, very strong and they're very, very powerful. Here you can see in this picture, the deity of Lord Jagannath, is very huge and very heavy. And obviously it's not by some chance that these special devotees, get this opportunity to carry the Lord. It's all by the arrangement of the Lord. And also Lord Jagannath, we know, is also the maintainer of the whole universe. So who can really carry him? Like Krishnadas Kaviraj is mentioning this in Charitamrita. Who can really carry the Lord? The Lord moves by his personal will just to perform his pastimes. Like this. So each of the deities, Lord Balaram, Shri Subhadra Maharani, and then Lord Jagannath are carried to their respective chariots. So while the Lord was being carried from the temple, to the chariot, the king of Orissa at that time was Maharaj Prataparudra. And he personally performed the menial service of cleansing the road with a broom. After sweeping, he sprinkled the road with sandalwood scented water. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw the king engage in such menial service, he became very happy. Simply by rendering this service, the king received the mercy of the Lord. So this is something very, very rare to see. We don't see kings doing this kind of service. They're usually instructing their servitors, to do different kinds of service activities. But Maharaj Prataparudra wasn't any ordinary king. He was actually a very special devotee of the Lord. And he wanted the mercy of the Lord. But Mahaprabhu was setting the example to all future sannyasis and other devotees that being a sannyas, we should not very easily mingle with people who are politicians, materialistic people, like that. So he was externally showing this, but internally he had a lot of love for Maharaj Prataparudra. So Maharaj Prataparudra did not care about his status or position. He was not attached to his kingdom, his family, or anything. He simply wanted to please the heart of the Lord. So these are some photos from the latest Jagannath festival. Here we see the current king of Orissa. He is there and he goes to each chariot to the chariot of Lord Baladev first, then Subhadra Maharani, and then he goes to Lord Jagannath, and he performs the Aarti ceremony at each chariot. So after the Aarti, the king then circumambulates the deity and sweeps the chariot. And after sweeping, he circumambulates the deities again, and he sprinkles sandalwood, water, and powder. So the king does this at each chariot. So as soon as the king leaves the chariot, the wooden ramp is removed, and then the horses are harnessed to the chariot. And here we can see the horses so beautifully carved, and each chariot has different color horses. And all these are hand carved, just like the chariots, the horses are all hand carved by the devotees. So the chariots, which are very beautifully decorated by the devotees, they are then pulled by devotees known as Gaudas. And they pull the chariot with great pleasure. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu formed 7 Sankirtan parties with singers, dancers, and mridanga players in each party. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wandered through all 7 groups, chanting the holy name in great ecstasy. Raising his arms, he would loudly shout, "All glories to Lord Jagannath, all glories to Lord Jagannath." Then the Lord exhibited another mystic power by performing pastimes simultaneously in all 7 groups. Everyone was thinking, "Oh, the Lord is dancing in my group," but he was in all the groups at the same time. Actually, no one could see the inconceivable potency of the Lord. Only the most confidential devotees, those in pure, unalloyed devotional service, could understand this glorious pastime. Maharaj Prataparudra was also one of those devotees who could also see this taking place. Lord Jagannath was very much pleased by the Sankirtan of the Lord. Mahaprabhu danced in great jubilation and inundated all the people with waves of ecstatic love. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced and jumped high, roaring like thunder and moving in a circle like a wheel, he appeared like a circling firebrand. Wherever Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stepped while dancing, the whole earth with its hills and seas appeared to tilt. So upon seeing the dancing and ecstatic love of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, everyone became astonished. In their hearts, they became infatuated with love of Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu looked upon the beautiful lotus-like face and eyes of Lord Jagannath. Lord Jagannath was garlanded, dressed with beautiful garments, and adorned with beautiful ornaments. His face was glittering from the rays of sunshine, and the entire atmosphere was fragrant. So the chariot procession continued, and finally in the evening, the 3 beautiful chariots reached the Gundicha temple. So there are many pastimes that take place from the time the chariot leaves the Jagannath temple to the Gundicha temple. Many wonderful pastimes, so much of detail. And if we read Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 12, 13, 14, we can actually see how Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami is explaining these beautiful, glorious pastimes of the Lord. And again, some of them are very detailed pastimes. And some of the pastimes are also explained very beautifully by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur in the Chaitanya Bhagavat as well. So I just wanted to share some photos here as well. Srila Acharyadev singing and dancing in ecstasy, as some of you who were there will remember. So beautiful and always inspiring and giving energy to the devotees all around him, like this. Srila Acharyadev is very expert in arranging all these parikrama festivals, Navadip Dham festival, Jagannath Puri festival, Vrindavan Dham Parikrama. And he's always doing so much for the devotees, arranging the accommodation, the prasadam, as Kanupriya Didi was mentioning, so much of prasadam, it's unbelievable. And so he's doing everything for the satisfaction of Sri Hari, Guru, and Vaishnavas. He really knew how to serve and please the hearts of the devotees. So this is towards the very, very end, and devotees after return to our Saraswat Mata Puri Dham. Jai Srila Bhakti Nirmala Acharya Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Shri Puri Dham Festival ki jai.
Jai.
Forgive my offenses. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu, for that. We will now be crossing over to Parama Bhakti Didi in the Netherlands.
In the land of the cheese and the tulips. So I thought I start by making something that actually I also learned very much in the beginning because I joined via the cooking course and the Bhagavad Gita course. And one of the first things I learned to make was paneer. And I was amazed that you could make cheese yourself so easily. And so I will make it the way I was taught. I know some people, they do it differently, cross window. Which is by using full-fat milk, 2 liters, half a liter of full-fat yogurt. And sometimes in the summer, the milk is a little bit more fat, so then I have to add a little bit of more lemon juice. Some people make the paneer completely with lemon juice, but I always make it with yogurt because that makes the biggest quantity and I think also the best quality. So I bring this 2 liters of milk to a boil. I hope that goes quickly. Otherwise, in the meantime, I can maybe show you something that I want to do afterwards with the paneer, because if you can make paneer, you can make so many different things with the paneer. I make a spread with it. I stuff bell peppers with it. And I also make these little zucchini wrappers with it. This, I do think you never find anywhere else except in the Netherlands. This is what we call aasgaaf. How would you translate it? A cheese scraper. And you can make slices with it, but you can also do that with the potato peeler. And I just do a couple like that. And then you have water, you bring it to the boil. I add a little salt. And then you blanch these for a couple of, well, like a minute or so. They're very, very thin slices. You have to keep an eye on the milk that it doesn't boil over. See, it's nearly came to a boil. You can also blanch the bell peppers if you want, but it's not necessary really. You can put them in the oven afterwards for like maybe 30 minutes or so on 180 degrees Celsius. Then they're very much cooked, but if you prefer, you can blanch them. So it's nearly boiling. I'm checking these in the meantime to see. They have to be a bit pliable. They're nearly finished. In the meantime, well, let me finish this first. That's very simple. You can also take them out and put them in cold water if you want, but for today I will put it like that. I usually put them on a clean cloth and let them cool down. Okay, here comes the milk. This. Milk is coming to a boil, and that's where chemistry does its work. So you slowly pour in the yogurt, you steer one direction, and then the milk will start to separate. You get the cheese and you get the whey. And of course, in every country, the milk, the fat percentage is different, but you have to get the fattest milk if possible. And according to the fat percentage, also you have to see how much of yogurt or something acid like lemon you have to add in order for the milk to separate. Are you still there?
Yes, Didi.
Okay.
We all are here.
We're all taking it in. We're being good students.
Don't worry, Didi. We are following very nicely. Good
Yes.
student.
You can see it's starting to separate. I always find this so fascinating. It's like magic. Yeah, you can see it separating.
Yes.
Yes, we can see it perfect.
Very nice. Yep.
So the thing to check if it's properly separated is that you see that the whey becomes very like light green.
Yeah.
That's what you have to keep in mind. So if it's still a bit too white, then maybe you have to add a little bit more of the acid, so a little bit more of the lemon. This looks quite okay. I just add a little bit because now the milk is quite fat because of the summer. Because the cows go outside and eat the grass. Yeah, you see, this is what you're going for.
Yeah.
Then usually I just put off the fire and I let it sit. I let it rest for like 5 minutes or so. But because we don't have so much time to do so, I'll show you the quick way. You have to have a pot, and I put this colander inside. I have a little cheesecloth, which is a handkerchief, preferably non-used. I wash it, I wetten it a bit. Okay, this can go like this. And then you line it. And then I take out the paneer. I just scoop it out like this. And with the whey, you can use that for like adding to a sabji, or if you make a vegetable soup, or when I make this lapfra, this favorite soup for Mahaprabhu, then I also use it. Or some people even make a drink with it. They let it cool down and they add honey and lemon to it, and you can turn it into a drink. I usually use it for soup, or you can also use it for dal, but then you have to first cook the dal completely, and then you can add the whey. Apparently that has something to do because it slows down the cooking process. So anyway, usually I fold it like this, and you have to put some weight on it. You don't have to if you want to use the paneer for a spread or so. You don't necessarily have to put the weight on it, but I usually put the weight on it because I add some other things to it. So this is my weight. Marbles. Of course, you can put some plate on it, and then add some pots with water or so. But I usually put this on like this. I have some special memories to these, and another one I have because they're from Paramatala. Oh. So I'll put this on side because I let the cheese rest for like 30 minutes. If you let it rest for 30 minutes, it becomes quite solid. I can show you. Then you can cut it into slices, you see, like this. And like this, you can bake it. You can also crumble it and put it on pizza, or if you make an oven dish with others like slices. I often do that with slices of grilled zucchini and grilled eggplant, or let's say aubergine. And then I put some tomato sauce with it, and then some crumbled paneer, and another layer of the fat cheese, and another layer of the tomato sauce and crumbled paneer, and some cheese on top, and then put it in the oven. What you can also do with it is the following. this out of the way. So this is what it looks like if you, like I showed you the slices, and you crumble it a little bit like this. So in this way, you can use it on pizza or in your oven dish or anything else. If you have any suggestions, please let me know. Then you can, if you want to make it like a spread or to stuff the vegetables with, I usually add either some of this cream cheese. Oh, let's do something like this, I think. And I add some this black pepper. I will put the measurements later in some recipe. Some turmeric, because turmeric and black pepper are good friends. And some hing. Of course, you can do all kinds of things, all kinds of different spices in it. I use this herbal salt, but you can also put ordinary salt, or some, I know many devotees also use pink salt. And you can put some, let me check. I forgot to take that out. You can put some fresh, or this is frozen, but you, of course, you can take fresh herbs. This is basil, but you can take all kinds of coriander or whatever. And of course, you can also do all kinds of different spices and herbs in the mixture. Whatever you like. You can do some Spanish herbs or French. Yeah, we also have a lot of French herbs here in the Netherlands. Or Mexican herbs and spices. You can mix it like this. I'm going to use my hands. And you can, of course, put some chili in it if that's what you like to make. So you see, this becomes like a spread. You can usually put on bread and toast and chapati, or you know, we sometimes also just take it like this, and then we use it with slices of cucumber or celery or carrot or something like that. Okay, then I'll show you. And you take a little bit like this, and you can stuff a little pepper like that, or a big pepper, big bell pepper, like this. I also sometimes slice eggplant and I grill it, and then I also stuff it with this. Looks really pretty. And this I stuff like this a little bit. They're awfully quiet. I'm all the time thinking they're gone.
No, we're here. We're watching.
Yeah. That's so interesting, Didi.
Yeah. So let me wash my hands.
Oh.
And then you just roll them up. You see?
Yes.
I think it looks really cute.
Yeah, it's lovely.
You can offer it like this, but you could also, of course, put a little cheese on top. I usually offer it like this, but these ones I put some cheese on top. This, and then I put them in the oven, and they get really beautifully a little bit brown, and the cheese melts like that. That's that. So that's the paneer, making the paneer and making the spread and using the spread for stuffing the vegetables. Then, oh, there's one left in the water. Pour one. Get that out. You see that poor zucchini? So I need this tomatoes because that's the next step. So if you finish the paneer, in the meantime, that's what I do. I make the sauce for the Matar Paneer. You can use, of course, tinned, or how you say, canned tomatoes. Canned tomatoes. But in the summer, when the tomatoes are good quality and the price is also good, I use fresh tomatoes. And the sauce which I'm making is actually a sauce you can use for many different recipes. I blanch the tomatoes. You blanch it by boiling the water, making a cross. I'm sure you ladies all know. I'm just telling. Because I prefer them to take the peel off. I wait for that. Well. And here. This. And you're waiting for the water to boil, huh? Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's what I do. I usually, in the meantime, when the paneer is there, how do you say, getting more firm, then in the meantime, I usually make the sauce. So you can use the canned tomatoes, but yeah, I prefer to use fresh tomatoes, which I first blanch, like I said. So I'm still waiting for the water to boil. Boiling. Yes. Okay, here we go. Just put them in like in this pot would fit like 3 or 4 big tomatoes. And you just have to, don't let them cook for like very long, just a couple of, maybe a minute or so. And then you see that the peel is getting loose. Usually I put them in a big bowl of cold water and you could just easily take off the peel. And then I cut them. But I want to ask you, if I make the recipe, would you like the recipe for 4 people or for 6 to 8 people?
4 people is fine.
Yeah, then we can just like double the amount.
How many?
The quantity.
The quantity
4.
we can double it.
4.
You can double the quantity, yeah.
So then in the meantime, I take some ghee. Go there. And I add some ghee. Lots. So, and if like, I know you ladies are experienced cook, but I advise anybody who will try this recipe or any other recipe for the first time, put all the ingredients that you need to cook ready, like measure the spices and put them all like in little quantities ready, so that you don't have to, oh, the ghee is getting hot and I still have to do this and I still have to add that. That just causes so much stress. And here, you can see the peel comes right off. Very easy. So normally I cool this down in cold water, but for now we just put them here to sweat. Okay, this is getting fairly hot. Also, if you first time or not so experienced cook, put the fire and the ghee slowly, so the spices don't burn. Because if the spices burn, then you have to start all over again. I start with some mustard seed. This sauce, if you leave the mustard seed and the garam masala out, then basically you can use, and maybe the ginger out, then basically you can use this sauce as a basic sauce. You can make it Italian. You can have by adding Italian spices or herbs, by adding some fresh basil. You can turn it into Mexican. You can do all kinds of things with it. But now we're doing the Matar Paneer. So I add some mustard seed. If they start popping, then make sure you got the lid on hand, because then you have to close it, otherwise they'll be all over the place. So usually I wait. Sorry?
Is it yellow mustard seed or black one?
Yes, this is yellow mustard seed. Yeah. Usually I wait until they start popping, and then I'll turn, you see, here they come, like popcorn. Yeah. And then I usually turn down the flame a little bit, because it's more easily to control. You can hear them?
Yeah.
Yes.
They're dancing. And then I will add the ginger and stir a little bit, because I don't want the ginger I don't want it to burn either. Let me open the jars. And then when you add the spices, you first add the spices which are either whole or grossly ground. I usually grind my own spices with a coffee grinder, because that is much better. You get much better flavor, and quality is kept from the spices. Okay, you can hear they're nearly finished. Yes. And I'll add some ginger to that. I stir that around a bit. And another thing I do when I use tomato puree is that I'll bake it a bit in the spice mixture, because that takes away the sour taste of the tomato puree. So either if you use tins, but you do want to add that extra tomato in it, then first bake the tomato puree with the spices. A little higher. A bit more brown. Is the light enough? Is there a good light like this?
Yeah, we can see. Kitty, good.
Okay. Like this. You see, it's starting to become a little bit more golden brown. Oh, it's still popping a bit. Woo. Then I add the black pepper. Of course, you can add chili if you want that. Some coriander. Some cumin, oftewel komijn, for the South Africans. And then I add the paprika, so that's paprika powder. You can also put some smoked paprika inside if you want. I add a little bit of garam masala and some good old turmeric. And then last but not least, hing. Then I'll add the tomato puree. And stir it through a bit, like that. Okay, and this is the fresh tomatoes I blanched and chopped into little pieces. And there they go. This is basically it. Oh yeah, I got some beautiful bay leaves from my friend. She gave me she has a bay leaf tree in her garden. So I put them inside as well. And then you cook this. I will not show the entire process now because that will take a bit too long. You cook this for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes or so. I prefer not to overcook things, if not necessary. You'll cook them until they're done, but not like, how do you say, kill them. Like, it takes out all the nutrients. I don't really like that. And then you can, I'll show this. Right? Of course, nearly forgot about this. So then I let it cook for about 15 minutes or so, or 20 minutes. Yeah, 20 minutes would be good. And then on a low fire, I usually add some little cream. It's not necessary. Some people also add some. This is, we call this crème fraîche, right? It's crème fraîche. I think in England they would call it clotted cream.
Is it sour cream?
No, this is not sour cream. This is sweet, but you can also add sour cream. Actually, the cream or just ordinary cream that you make whipped cream with is just to take any acidity away. I usually don't add any sugar. Some people add sugar in it, but I'm not. I don't think it's really necessary. So this is, of course, let's say this is 20 minutes later. Time warp. Then I'll add the peas. But of course, like I said, this sauce, if you leave out the garam masala, if you leave out the mustard seed, and you would add like Italian herbs with this or other herbs with it, you can also use this sauce for adding vegetables. I do that. I steam vegetables and I add that to the sauce. Or you can add chickpeas. This is also a great recipe. If you have to cook large quantities, you make this sauce, you add some of the whey to it, you add chickpeas to it, and whatever vegetable you have, and then you can either buy cornstarch or potato starch. Then you use quantities of vegetable. Then when the sauce is like nearly done. So this is the paneer that I made earlier, which has rested for like 30 minutes. Then I bake the paneer in a non-stick pan. I just put a little ghee with the brush. I brush it with ghee, and then I bake it on all sides. I used to cut it in all small pieces, but it's actually more practical, I find, to just cut the slices and then bake them on all sides. I also bake them on these sides. And then what I do, I cut them with the scissors, like this. And then I add it to the sauce. Any questions in the meantime? Ze zijn zo stil.
The paneer is quite firm. How long did you sit it for?
Like 30 minutes. But okay. That's the thing. If you make it quite firm and you add it to the sauce, it will soak up the sauce.
Mm.
And
is it made by yogurt? That's why it's firm like this?
No, I don't think so. I think if you make it with lemon juice, it's the same thing. It's just, of course, if you let it sit with the weight on it like 50 minutes, then the cheese will be not as firm. but then it's also more difficult to bake it.
Okay.
Because then it's easier to fall apart. So like this, I add it. Then at the end, when it's, well, I have to put some salt in it. So I guess. I add some salt. And then when it's like, then usually I let it simmer for another 5 minutes with the paneer. It will soak up the water. But if it is too dry, then you can always add some of the whey to it. And if you think, oh Lord, I put way too much whey in it, way too much whey in the way too much, then you can of course always put some, bind it with some potato or corn starch. Before offering, you can, I will turn off the fire now. Then you can add some, I do have it in the fridge, but I don't think it's really necessary to show. Is there any more here? No. You can add some chopped coriander, and some people also put some fresh mint in it. I had both, but that's just, but of course you can also put some fresh basil in it, whatever you like. Did I forget anything?
Can I ask a question, Didi?
Yeah, sure.
With the tomato, I know you said you normally cook the tomatoes down for like 20 minutes. I was just wondering, can you blend the tomatoes if you wanted them more of a smoother consistency?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. You can also let them cook, but then before you eat, you add the peas, obviously, and before you add the paneer. Otherwise, you have a very thick soup. You add everything and then just put the blender through.
So ready for offering, Didi?
Sorry?
Ready for offering?
Offering. Would it be ready for offering now?
Yes, like this it would be ready. I would just put some herbs, fresh herbs to it, but that you do at the very last moment.
Okay, we are getting ready to come to you.
Okay, I think that's it.
Thank you, Didi.
Thank you, Didi. Thank you so much, Dandavad.
Thank you, Didi, for the wonderful recipes. We're going to try them out. Okay, thank you. And now we have some kirtan.
Jai Gurudev. Sri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sharma. Sri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Andamui Shabadana Mate Andamuni Ahara Prasade Bai Baba Toriya Jai
Ahara Prasade
Krishna Prapti ho jaha hoite
Krishna Prapti hoy jaha hoite
Guru Mukha Padma Vakhya Chiketi Koriyakya
Guru Mukha Padma Vakhya Chiketi Koriyakya
Arna Koriyo Mane Asha
Arana Karika Mane Asha
Shri Guru Charane Rati Se Utama Gati
Shri Guru Charane Rati Se Utama Gati
हे प्रसादे पूरे सर्व आशा
हे प्रसादे पूरे सर्व आशा
चक्षुदान दिलो जे जन्म जन्म प्रभु से
चक्षुदान दिला जे जन्म जन्म प्रभु से
ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित
दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित
प्रेमा भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाश जाते
प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाश जाते
तेरे गा जहर चरितो
वेंदगा जहर चरितो
श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु अदम जनर बंधु
गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधम जनर बंधु
कनाथ लोकेरा जीवाना
लोकनाथ लोकेरा जीवाना
महाप्रभु खोर दोया देहो मोरे पद छाया
महाप्रभु करुणा देहो मोरे पद छाया
हे आदम लैल शरणा
हे आधमलैल शरणा
तुया पदे लैनु शरणा
तुया पदे लैनु शरणा
আমি শরণেলাম
আমি শরণেলাম
অভয় শ্রীপদ পদ্মে শরণেলাম
অভয় শ্রীপদ পদ্মে শরণেলাম
আয় দয়া করো হে
দয়া করো হে
অতি পাবন শ্রী গুরুদেব দয়া করো হে
पति पावन श्री गुरुदेव दया करो हे
आदम पतित जने दया करो हे
आदम पतित जने दया करो हे
जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव
जय जय गुरुदेव
जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव
जय जय गुरुदेव गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव
श्री गुरुदेव की
जय
उमा दीदी
हरे कृष्ण प्रणाम दंडवत प्रणाम
धन्यवाद प्रणाम जी।
ओ हे वैष्णव ठाकुर दया सागर से करुणा कोरी
वैष्णव
ठाकुर दया सागर
से करुणा कोरी
ओ हे वैष्णव ठाकुर दया सागर से करुणा कोरी
हे वैष्णव से करुणा कोरी
दिया पद छाया सदैव माया तुम्हारा चरण दौरी
पद छाया तुम्हारा चरण दोरी
तुम्हारा चरण दौरी
तुम्हारा चरण दोरी
छाया वेग दोमी क्षय दोष सोदी क्षय गुण देहदासी
छाया बेगदोमी छय दशोदी छय गुणा देवदासी
छाया सत्संग दिए हमारे बसती संगे रहसे साचे संगे रहासे एकाकी हमारा नहीं पाया पाला हरिनामा संकीर्तने
एकाकी हमारा नहीं पाया
बोलो हरिनाम संकीर्तन।
तुम्ही कृपा करी श्रत बिंदू दिया देह कृष्ण नामदाने
तुम्हें कृपा करे
देहो कृष्ण
देह कृष्ण नामदाने
देहा कृष्ण नामदाने।
कृष्णा से तुम्हारा कृष्ण दीते पर तुम्हारा सको हाचे
कृष्ण से तुम्हारा कृष्ण देते पारो तुम्हारा सत्याचे।
अमित कंगाल कृष्ण कृष्ण बोले दहित पाचे पाचे
अमित कंगाल कृष्ण कृष्ण बोले
दहिता पाचे पाचे अमी दहिता पाचे पाचे कृष्ण दाना पापेरा से दहिता पाचे पाचे तुम्ही दिला कृष्ण दीते पार कृष्ण तुम्हारा हृदय दाना तुम्ही दिला दीते पारा कृष्ण देवर शक्तिधर तुम्ही दिलो दीते पार अमित कंगाल कृष्ण कृष्ण बोले दहिता पाचे पाचे वहे वैष्णव ठाकुर वैष्णव ठाकुर वैष्णव ठाकुर दया वैष्णव ठाकुर दयाल वैष्णव ठाकुर दयाल वैष्णव ठाकुर वैष्णव ठाकुर दयाल वैष्णव ठाकुर
वैष्णव ठाकुर जय वैष्णव ठाकुर
श्रील भक्तिविनोद ठाकुर की जय
जय।
सुंदरी दीदी धन्यवाद।
नदिया गोद्रु में नित्यानंद महाजान
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 याचे नामाहत जीवे राकरान
अतियाचे नामाहत जीवे राकरान
नदिया गोद्रु में नित्यानंद महाजान
नदिया गोद्रु में नित्यानंद महाजान
याचे नामाहत जीवे राकरान
पतयाचे नामाहत जीवे राकरान
शत्रवान जन है
श्रद्धावान है, श्रद्धावान जन है।
प्रभुरा अज्ञाया भाई मांगे ए भिक्षा,
प्रभुरा मांगे भिक्षा।
कृष्णा भजो कृष्णा करो कृष्णा शिक्षा,
बोलो कृष्णा भजो कृष्णा करो कृष्णा शिक्षा।
अपराध शून्य हो लोहो कृष्णा नाम,
कृष्ण नाम।
अपराध शून्य हो लोहो कृष्णा नाम,
अपराध शून्य हो कृष्ण नाम।
न माता कृष्णा पिता कृष्णा धन प्राण,
कृष्ण माता कृष्ण पिता कृष्ण दान प्राण।
न माता कृष्णा पिता कृष्णा धन प्राण,
कृष्ण माता पिता कृष्ण दान प्राण।
तेरा संसार करे छाड़ी अनाचार,
कृष्ण संसार करे छाड़े अनाचार।
वेदया कृष्ण नाम सर्व धर्म सार,
जीवदया कृष्ण नाम सर्वधर्म सार।
वेदया कृष्ण नाम,
जीवदया कृष्ण नाम सर्वधर्म सार।
वेदया नाम सर्व धर्म सार,
जीवदय कृष्ण नाम
सर्वधर्म सार।
या गुद्र में नित्यानंद महाजान,
नड़िया गोद्र में नित्यानंद महाजान।
प्रियाचे नाम हता जीवे रचरण,
अपचियाचे नाम हत जीवे रकरण।
प्रिया गुद्र में नित्यानंद महाजान,
नड़िया गोद्र में नित्यानंद महाजान।
जय नित्यानंद जय नित्यानंद, नित्यानंद जय नित्यानंद,
जय नित्यानंद जय नित्यानंद, नित्यानंद जय नित्यानंद।
जय नाम संकर की जय।
काय गौरा माधुर स्वामी,
गौरा मधुर स्वरे।
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे,
हरे कृष्णा
कृष्ण
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 हरे
हरे
हरे।
हरे रमा 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 हरे हरे,
हरे रमा
हरे
रमा रमा
हरे
हरे।
हरे।
काय गौरा माधुर स्वरे,
गौरा मधुर
रसरे।
स्वरे।
गृहत को वनत को सदा हरि बोलो दको,
गृह तको वने तको सदा हरि बोले तको।
दुखे बोलो नको, पत्नी हरि नाम करो रे,
दुखे दुखे
भूला रखो पदने हरि नाम करो रे।
काय गौरा माधुर स्वरे,
गौरा मधुर स्वरे।
माया जले बाधा होए, अचोमीचे काजलोए,
माया जले
सदा होए अच्युते काजोले।
एक कौन चैतन्य पिए, राधा माधव नाम बोलो रे,
नाम बोलो रे।
काय गौरा माधुर स्वरे,
गौरा मधुर स्वरे।
जीवन ओइल से न बजिले ऋषिकेश,
जीवन होईल शेष, बजले ऋषिकेश।
भक्ति विनोदोपदेश एक बार नाम रस मथुरे
भक्ति
भक्ति विनोदोपदेश मथुरे
गाय गौर मधुर स्वरे
गाय गौर मधुर स्वरे
Danista Didi.
Yes, Dandavat.
Dandavat Didi.
Dandavat. Hari Hara Nama Krishnaya Namaha.
Hare Hare
Yandavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Gopal Govindaram Shrimad Husudana. Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohana. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra.
Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra
Radhadhara Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Rupa Sanatan Bhakta Raghunatha.
Jaya Rupa Sanatan Bhakta Raghunatha.
Jiva Gopala Bhakta Dasa Raghunatha.
Jiva Gopala Bhakta Dasa Raghunatha.
Icha Gosai Kori Charana Vandana.
Gosai Kori Charana Vandana.
Jaha Koite Bhignana Shabishta Purana. Icha Gosai Jara Muni Tandra Dasa.
Icha Gosai Jara Muni Tandra Dasa.
Sansavara Padarena More Panchagrasa.
Sansavara Padarena More Panchagrasa.
Kandara Charana Sebe Bhakta Sane Basa. Janame More Yathilasha.
Janame More Abhilasa.
Ichanga Sai Jabe Branja Kalabasa. Radha Krishna Nitalila Korila Prakasha. Ananda Bolo Hari Branja Vrindavana.
Anande Bolo Hari Vrindavana.
Singaro Vaishnava Pada Madhya Mana.
Guru Vaishnava Pada Madhya Mana.
Singaro Vaishnava Pada Padma Kareyasha.
Guru Vaishnava Pada Padma Kareyasha.
Harinama Sankirtana Kahe Narottama Dasa.
Harinama Sankirtana Kahe Narottama Dasa.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda.
Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Nitai Gauranga Nitai Gauranga.
Nitai Gauranga Nitai Gauranga.
Nitai 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 Gauranga.
Nitai 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 Gauranga.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare.
Nitya Gaura Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Nitya Gaura Hare Bol.
Nitya Gaura Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Nitya Gaura Hare Bol.
Jai Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Jai Gurudev.
Jai Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Gurudev.
Nitya Gaura Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Nitya Gaura Hare Bol.
Nitya Gaura Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Nitya Gaura Hare Bol.
Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Nitya Gaura Hare Bol.
Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Nitya Gaura Hare Bol.
Jai Srila Bhakti Nirmala Acharya Maharaj ki Jai.
राजा परिकर श्री गुरु गौरांग गंधर्व गोविंद सुंदर जी की जय। श्री श्री गुरु गौर नित्यानंद जी की जय। आयमस्मात् परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रील भक्ति निर्मला आचार्य गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। आयमस्मात् परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रील भक्ति सुंदर गोविंद देव गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। आयमस्मात् परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रील भक्ति रक्षिधार देव गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। श्री रूप अनुग गुरु वर्ग की जय। श्री वैष्णव वृंद की जय। आचार्य श्रीला हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। आशा प्रसाद नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय। आशा प्रसाद महाप्रभु की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपन श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। जय श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय। श्री गुंडीचा मार्जन की जय। श्री रथ यात्रा फेस्टिवल की जय। श्री पुरी धाम परिक्रमा की जय। जय श्री वृंदा देवी तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की जय। राम अव्यक्त भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। All the assembled devotees की जय। All the worldwide devotees की जय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।
कृष्ण कृष्ण प्रभु की
जय।
जय गुरुदेव।
कृष्णा नंदिनी दीदी की जय।
Jai. To all the devotees, ki jai.
जय।
वैष्णव वृंद की जय।
Thank you to everyone for your wonderful association today.
Thank you and Prabhuji so much
Didi
for
also
organizing that. Yeah, thank you so
for
much.
the recipes. Sorry, Didi, you saying?
And Kanupriya Didi, Prabhu, and you Didi, thank you so much for organizing all of them. We are really very happy. Very appreciative.
Yeah, it was so lovely going back in time, that 2019 with Srila Acharyadev. And I'm sure, the devotees were so fortunate, to have his wonderful association during that parikram. And watching the photos, you wish you could have been there.
Yes,
yeah. So, but thank you everyone.
So much. I really feel very fortunate to just like every Saturday just get all the brothers and sisters together. Yeah.
Yes,
I'm very happy with that.
We look forward to that.
For me, I'm really like alone here. We are just alone here, but at least by Zoom, by meeting, we can just see each other and know each other very well. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and that's what it's all about, Our families, we're getting together and sharing our experiences. And glorifying our Gurudev.
No matter which corner of the world you are, but we are now we are all the same, on the same level, sitting and talking and sharing our ideas, our experience. Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
Dhanavad, Ishwarananda Prabhu. How are you?
Dhanavad, Tingal Prabhu. Dhanavad, how is going? When I
Yes,
see
yes.
you, when I see you, I can see my Guru Maharaj on your face.
Jai Gurudev, you're too kind. I am very fallen. I'm always also waiting for the association of the devotees every Saturday.
Always
Gives me so much of inspiration and some strength to carry on. with my
Always
service.
put us in your, always put us in your prayer.
Jai Gurudev. Everything by Gurudev's mercy, everything by the grace of Srila Gurudev.
Yeah.
Always.
Because
Without the
if
grace
you
of
don't
Gurudev,
have,
really.
yes,
Without the
if
grace
we
of
don't
Srila
have
Gurudev.
the association, we lost everything.
If you don't have mercy, blessing of Gurudev, we never join like this. Even we are, which corner of the world we are, you know, but we are joining.
No
And
worries.
also we
Slowly,
see,
slowly we get more devotees associate with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slowly.
and we see that when Kanupriya Didi was sharing the photos as well, you know,
Yeah,
we see that
yeah.
how important it is to be in the presence of Srila Gurudev, and with his association, you know, we learn the pastimes of the Lord. You know. Otherwise, what can we see if we go to the Holy Dham and if Guru is not there?
We don't know anything.
We'll
Yeah. No.
simply, as Gurudev said, we'll be doing eye exercise, you know. But when we go there with the presence of our Guru in his association, then he can reveal something to us, you know. He's got divine vision, and then he can describe the pastime very nicely. And by his grace, maybe, you know, we'll be able to see something and, you know, relish those wonderful sweet pastimes of the Lord like that. Everything by the grace of Gurudev. Jai Gurudev.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Take care and stay safe. And looking forward to next week.
Sure.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.